Good morning. Welcome to Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace. We are Unitarian Universalists. Ours is a progressive theology grounded in love, a love which calls us to see the holy in every being and to take compassionate action in our world. In this space, we gather with open minds, open hearts, and open hands to practice acceptance, forgiveness, and growth, welcoming people of all nations, all creeds, all ages, all genders, all cultures, and all kinds of love. Whether you are here every week or came today for the first time, or maybe you stop in every once in a while, we celebrate all of who you are and who you are becoming. You are welcome here.
Good morning. I'm Patrick Kulibeck, this morning's worship coordinator. We are delighted to welcome back to our pulpit the Reverend Erica Rose Long, our affiliated community minister who spends her days as a chaplain at Mass General Hospital. Erica and I are joined this morning by the multi-talented Beck Sayre, stepping in for Mark David Buckles as our guest conductor this morning, Hyunju Jung on piano, and the Arlington Street Choir in leading worship today. We couldn't do this without our tech team, our ushers, our greeters, and our coffee hour hosts. Thank you, friends. If you're new to Arlington Street, welcome. We're so glad you're here and would love to stay connected with you. I hope you will visit our website at arlingtonstreet.org and sign up for our weekly e-newsletter. Zoomers, you can complete the connection card using the link you'll find in the chat right now, and we'll be in touch. On the last pages of the order of service, you'll find information on upcoming Arlington Street events. There's always a lot going on, both in person and on Zoom, and we'd love to see you sometime this week. One brief note of apology. In last week's service, we inadvertently excluded Zoomers by showing the physical Covenant Renewal brochure without offering a digital option. We are glad to report that we now have a digital option available, and you can find a link in the chat. We hope you'll join us after the service for coffee hour in the Honeywell Chapel right through the door to my left, to your right. We will also have the usual Zoom breakout rooms after worship for those who want to join and connect with each other. If you came this morning with a joy or a concern in your heart, you're invited to light a candle at home and share in the chat. And now let's take a moment to connect with each other. Michael will... Keith, thank you. Keith will turn the camera on our physical sanctuary congregation as we wave and smile at our friends in the Zoom sanctuary. As they wave and smile back at Keith. And Michael, if you can find him. Good morning, friends. Let's all engage that Arlington Street spirit of welcome that transcends physical distance as we greet one another heart to heart. Whether you've been coming here for years or today is your first time at Arlington Street, welcome home. Please join now in saying the Affirmation Covenant of our beloved spiritual community. The words are printed in the chat. Love is the spirit of this congregation, and service is our gift. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to speak our truths in love, and to help one another.
Tempests of my heart, oh my Bring bringing peace that the world can never take away. Calm the tempests of my heart, oh my God. Calm the tempests of my heart, oh my God. Be still, oh my soul, so that God may rest in peace. Bringing peace that the world can never take away.
This February marks 100 years of Black History Month in the United States. In 1926, historian and journalist Dr. Carter G. Woodson sent out a press release announcing a week in February that would be dedicated to commemorating the history of Black Americans and to encourage further work to be done to preserve and tell their stories. He quickly decided to expand it from a week to a month. Dr. Woodson believed that history is made by the people, not by a few great men. His hope was to preserve and celebrate the Black people whose stories and contributions are systematically minimized and erased. 100 years later, this continues to be the call of Black History Month, as the US government has made significant funding cuts to the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and many historic sites, libraries, and archives of Black history. As Unitarian Universalists, our faith calls us to be actively engaged in the work of dismantling racism and systems of oppression. We are called to not only remember and preserve Black history within our communities, but also to focus our time, our resources, and our spirits toward the thriving of all Black people. Our chalice lighting today comes from poet Nikki Giovanni. This is her poem, Black History Month. If Black History Month is not viable, then wind does not carry the seeds and drop them on fertile ground. Rain does not dampen the land and encourage the seeds to root. Sun does not warm the earth and kiss the seedlings and tell them plain, you are as good as anybody else. You've got a place here too. I invite you now to rise in body and spirit for our hymn, our opening hymn, Comfort Me by Mimi Bornstein-Doble. It is number 1002 in the Teal hymnal. The words are in your order of service, and we'll have them in the chat as well.
Comfort me,
are in the season of covenant renewal, which is a time in this community that means that we reflect on what it means to offer our time, our talent, and our resources to Arlington Street Church to ensure our thriving and to keep this community alive. We are very lucky this morning to have words of wisdom offered by our very own Lois Hartsaw. Lois, would you come forward? Thank you.
Church had once been very important to me, but I had been away for a number of years. I had grown up in a conservative, patriarchal church that no longer supported who I was as a person. I moved to Boston in my early 40s, looking for new opportunities in my life. I was having difficulty meeting like-minded people, and a friend suggested I try Arlington Street Church because the minister was a lesbian. I was skeptical, but I thought, well, I'll give it a try. I came for Homecoming Sunday in 2001 and liked the sermon. The place was abuzz because it was the opening of the newly renovated sanctuary. The tattered red cushions were replaced with beautiful green ones. Then the world came crashing down, literally, on 9/11. I came back the next Sunday and found people coming together to find comfort and meaning after this event. A few weeks later, we were protesting the war in Afghanistan. I knew I had found a community of people who shared my values and would support me. The week of September 11th, I decided to come out as a lesbian to my family. I had made a first step a few years earlier with my brother, whom I thought would be most open. His response was, "I'm not sure I want you around my son." After 9/11, I decided I would no longer live in fear and hiding. If terrorists were going to kill me, I was going to die an authentic person. I was already considered weird because I was single, and I wrote a letter to my parents and siblings coming out as a lesbian. The response I received from my father was, "You're still in the will, and we want to talk about this." A few weeks later, when I was talking with my mother, she had been given the job of telling me that he didn't want me to bring anyone back for the holidays because it would be stressful for them. The others were praying for me. But I found support here with people who understood. And when I came to Christmas Eve and heard the song by our community minister, Fred Small, "You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whomever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and you know I will love you still. You can live by yourself. You can gather special friends. You can choose one special one. And the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love behind when you're done." I had found my spiritual home, and my commitment was to measure my words and deeds by the love I leave behind. My desire was to learn to live with loving kindness for all beings, and ASC has helped me become a person who grows in love. This was all the more evident in 2023 when my mother died. I spent 2 weekends away with my siblings, making arrangements and enduring criticism, judgment. My brother, in his stress, yelled at me, and then his wife added on. And I came back here after the interment, and I came in, and people were loving. They weren't judging each other. They were coming together. And I thought, yes, this is the people I want to be with. And the rest of my family, after 20 years, are still living that critical, judgmental life that I've worked to leave behind. When I think of covenant renewal, I think of choices. Last summer, I had the immense privilege of going on an African safari in Kenya and Tanzania for 2 weeks. In addition to huge swaths of park where the animals roam free, I saw people and culture that held different values from us. Tanzania, shortly after its independence in 1961, chose this priority as a people and government. The survival of our wildlife is a matter of grave concern to all of us in Africa. These wild creatures, amid the wild places they inhabit, are not only important as a source of wonder and inspiration, but an integral part of our natural resources and of our future livelihood and well-being. In accepting the trusteeship of our wildlife, we solemnly declare that we will do everything in our power to make sure that our children's grandchildren will be able to enjoy this rich and precious inheritance. In the parks, I saw elephants, giraffes, zebras, wildebeest. I learned that over 2 million wildebeest and 500,000 zebras migrate through a territory the distance from here to Washington, D.C., open area where they can roam in their natural habitat. After 65 years, the Tanzanians have succeeded in their goal. I tell you this to talk about choices. I was able to meet Tanzanians and learn how they live. Many had simple housing. They would be living what we wouldn't call a developed lifestyle, but they had high values for community and family, the ecological systems, and they were very generous and joyful. They always said hello. I came back and said hello while I was walking my dog this summer, and the person just walked by. That wouldn't happen in the countries I was in. In Kenya, they've passed a law eliminating the use of plastic water bottles because it's bad for the environment. Here, one of the richest countries in the world, we can't afford to give up plastic. So I've chosen to live my life paying attention to my financial choices. I was able to say yes to going to Africa because I had saved a lot of money throughout my career. I saved no to other things. Here's an example of a choice I made. I only occasionally buy coffee at a coffee shop. How does this work out? So if I choose between one coffee per week and something else, maybe a gift to ASC, I could spend $5 for a coffee times 50 weeks, that'd be $250. Or I could give that money to ASC. Or maybe I say no to a coffee four times a week and treat myself once a week. That's a $1,000 gift to ASC. I've heard that people don't want to talk about giving things up. I don't want to talk about saying no to things. I want to talk about saying yes to what I really value in my life. Material possessions will not bring me joy, the spiritual community that I have here at ASC. As MasterCard commercialists said for years, some things are priceless. Giving to ASC is my gift of love in return for the love and acceptance I receive from you. Thank you.
I am
I have never been patient. In college, I would eat my dinner at 4 p.m. in the afternoon so I wouldn't have to wait in line. And even then, I would choose what I was going to eat based on which station had the shortest line. And yet, with all my planning and all my efforts to avoid it, I find myself, like everyone else, waiting. In the hospital where I work, there is so much waiting. In fact, you all might know this, hospitals are huge buildings full of waiting rooms where people of all ages, all races, all genders and languages wait to learn about what's happening inside their bodies and in turn, what will happen with their lives. I have found myself in waiting rooms lately, not for anything serious, but nonetheless, I find myself sitting in that discomfort of waiting. What will I learn? What if it changes everything? Over the course of my life, being in the waiting room has changed. Now, rather than flipping through the available magazines left on the coffee table, I pull out my iPhone and Google all the things the doctor might tell me. Once I'm convinced I know what my ailment is, I read celebrity gossip, distressing news articles, my work emails, and maybe if I'm conscious enough to look up from my phone, I notice that everyone in the waiting room around me is doing the same thing. My New England sensibilities suggest to me that trying to talk with someone else in the waiting room would be unwelcome and awkward, but I can't help and wonder if it would be better if we did wait together more intentionally. What if we compared our fears of what waits for us in our appointments? What if we distracted one another or comforted each other? When I am working as a chaplain, this is much easier. A huge part of my job is to talk to people while they wait. My presence is a disruption to the doom scrolling and the mindless candy crushing. I meet people waiting for test results, for diagnoses, treatment plans, rehabilitation referrals, and discharge dates. My experiences with people who are waiting has taught me that a lot can happen in that time. That waiting, which is so frustrating, may actually be invaluable. A few months ago, I was asked to visit a woman in her 70s who was dying. Her breathing was shallow, but still regular enough that I knew she would live for a few days. Her niece was at her bedside, one of her only living family members. The niece had a laptop in her lap that was open, and when I introduced myself, she said, "I'm waiting for my doctor to let me into a Zoom appointment. Could you please pray with my aunt that she will be at peace and go to heaven?" So I figured she didn't really want to chat. I knelt by her aunt, saying the words I felt best, praying for what she asked for. And when I stood up, the patient's niece looked at me and I noticed that she had her brow furrowed with a question. "Do you ever wonder," she began hesitantly, "if we just believe in heaven to make ourselves feel better?" "Yes," I said, before asking, "What made you think of that now?" "Well," she said, "I've spent so much time sitting with her, watching her breathe and waiting. I can't help but think about it. My aunt has been through so much. I really hope that whatever comes next is better than this, but maybe that is just because it would make me feel better." I stayed with her there, not providing any answers, but listening to the questions that she was asking in this time of grief and uncertainty. When I left, she was still waiting for the doctor to let her into the Zoom room for their appointment and for her aunt to die. But I believe in her waiting, something was happening. The waiting gave her time to really be present with her questions, to consider her fears and her desires, to consider this time between life and death. For all the boredom, frustration, and anxiety that we can feel when we are waiting, it is time that invites us to be present, despite the enticing distraction of cell phone screens, we are still there with ourselves for as long as it takes. We have to surrender to time that is not our own. Lately, the waiting that feels most unbearable for me is waiting for political and societal change. Maybe you all can relate. I'm waiting for people to wake up. I'm waiting for there to be, for people to see this corruption, this greed, this cruelty, to see that it doesn't have to be this way. It could be different, for people to be held accountable. And it's not like we aren't doing anything while we wait. I know I am. And I'm seeing people at protests, people making phone calls, learning about law and policy. I watched Bad Bunny get a standing ovation at the Grammys when he said, "Ice out." That's pretty cool. And I have friends who've already bought hundreds of whistles to hand out here in Boston so we can protect each other if we see ice. I joined an online action hour a few weeks ago with dozens of Unitarian Universalists from across the whole country making phone calls asking to end funding to ICE. And I went to one and there were 12, one every day for 12 days. How cool is that? And it's good to know that this waiting is not useless, because if any of you are considering civil disobedience or something else that might be a more active way to push back against what's happening, that also involves waiting. Has anyone here been to a sit-in before? It's a lot of waiting. I recently learned that one of the actions people are taking is creating traffic jams to keep ICE officers from getting to their victims. Intentionally sitting in traffic, that is waiting. And if you ever get arrested, wow, get ready to wait. So with that in mind, I'm just thinking, what are you waiting for right now? Maybe you're also waiting for these societal changes, but also maybe you're waiting to just feel better. Maybe you're waiting for something in your personal life to change. Maybe you're waiting to find a new love, or you're waiting for a doctor to tell you what's going on inside your body. I invite you just to take a breath right now. Let's take a breath in and out. Just notice what that feels like. Just to notice and name what you're waiting for, what you're longing for. Notice what it would be like to be present with yourself in this waiting, to not avoid it, to not distract yourself from it. And in this noticing, you can even invite yourself to imagine the experience of others who are waiting. Maybe other loved ones you know are waiting for something challenging, or maybe family members who are waiting for their loved ones to be released from detention centers, or people who are waiting for justice, people who are waiting to feel safe again or to be free from suffering. We can join with them. We have Googled everything we can about how to make this better, and of course we can do more. But action creates change over time, and waiting for that time to pass can be excruciating. It can feel like an eternity. Because while we wait for change, people are being separated from their families, people are being hurt, people are suffering, people are losing their lives. And if you are like me, you've also researched the worst case scenario for any of these possibilities, the greatest catastrophe, and feel the anxiety of all that could mean. In the waiting, though, we can also find ourselves again. We are reminded of what we love because we are afraid of losing it. What if in our waiting we have an opportunity to not just listen to what could go wrong, but to imagine what could go right? What do you really want? What do you desire for yourselves, for others, for this world? What if it's possible? The next time you catch yourself in the discomfort of waiting, I invite you to put your phone away and embrace it. If that feels unbearable, I have a few suggestions. Take a breath, just like we did just now. pray or meditate, whatever feels authentic to you. Allow yourself the time you have to get grounded and centered. Find that still small voice inside of you and listen to the wisdom it has to share. Rest. You can use this time to rest, to close your eyes, to daydream, take a break. If you have a pen and paper, you could journal. Write down what's coming up for you emotionally while you wait. What are you afraid of? What are you hoping for? And save that to read in the future when you know how everything turns out. Another suggestion, sing. Why not? Especially if you're alone in your car. That's like a really safe place to sing. I recently heard a story from a UU Mass Action program. This was a colleague of mine, Reverend Annie Gonzalez. She shared about a time when she was riding in a van after getting arrested. She was on her way to jail. She'd just done an act of civil disobedience to try to shut an ICE detention center. This was back in 2017. And when she was in the van, she looked across from her and there was a young 18-year-old. And he looked at her and he saw Reverend Annie's collar and he said, "Excuse me, what kind of minister are you?" And she said, "Oh, I'm a Unitarian Universalist." And he said, "Me too. Can we sing Blue Boat Home?" And they did. And I just love that story. One more suggestion of what to do while we wait. This is from poet Naomi Shihab Nye, and I think this is my favorite suggestion. This is her poem, Gate A4. Wandering around the Albuquerque airport terminal after learning my flight had been delayed for 4 hours, I heard an announcement. If anyone in the vicinity of Gate A4 understands any Arabic, please come to the gate immediately. Well, one pauses these days. Gate A4 was my own gate. I went there. An older woman in full traditional Palestinian embroidered dress, just like my grandma wore, was crumpled on the floor, wailing. "Help," said the flight attendant. "Talk to her. What's her problem? We told her her flight is going to be late, and she did this." I stopped to put my arm around the woman and spoke haltingly. "Shudawa, shubidak, habiti, stani shwe min fadlik shubit sui." The minute she heard any word she knew, however poorly used, she stopped crying. She thought the flight had been canceled entirely. She needed to be in El Paso for a major medical treatment the next day. I said, "No, we're fine. You'll get there, just later. Who's picking you up? Let's call him." So we called her son. I spoke with him in English. I told him I would stay with his mother till we got on the plane and ride next to her. She talked to him. Then we called her other sons, just for the fun of it. Then we called my dad, and he spoke to her for a while in Arabic and found out, of course, they have 10 shared friends. Then I thought, just for the heck of it, why not call some other Palestinian poets I know and let them chat with her? This all took 2 hours. She was laughing a lot by then, telling of her life, patting my knee, answering questions. She'd pulled out a homemade sack of mamoul cookies, little powdered sugar, crumbly mounds stuffed with dates and nuts from a bag, and was offering them to all the women at the gate. To my amazement, not a single woman declined one. It was like a sacrament. The traveler from Argentina, the mom from California, the lovely woman from Laredo, we were all covered with the same powdered sugar, smiling. There is no better cookie. And then the airline broke out free apple juice from 2 huge coolers, and little girls were running around with their cookies and their apple juice, and they were so happy. And I noticed my new best friend, by now we were holding hands, had a potted plant poking out of her bag, some medicinal thing with green, furry leaves. Such an old country tradition. Always carry a plant. Always stay rooted to somewhere. And I looked around that gate of late and weary ones, and I thought, this is the world I want to live in. The shared world. Not a single person in that gate, once the crying and confusion had stopped, seemed apprehensive, of any other person. They took the cookies. I wanted to hug all those other women too. This can still happen anywhere. Not everything is lost. Not everything is lost. While we wait, we can help one another. We can use the time to listen to our fears, our anxieties, and our hopes. And while it feels like an eternity, perhaps the time we spend waiting is the time we need to prepare ourselves for whatever comes next, the catastrophe or the miracle. May your time waiting be the time you need to change, to heal, and to ask yourself the most important questions. We are all waiting to know more and see when we will get to where we are going, wherever that may be. Whatever you're waiting for today, let's remind each other that we are not waiting alone. Take care.
We join now in our ritual of sharing community candles of sorrow and joy. In addition to sharing our joys and sorrows this morning, let's reach out to one another in the week ahead, staying connected. May these times remind us of how very precious our beloved community is. We need one another. Whether together or apart, may we stay very close. We'll begin by singing There Is a Love. The words are printed in your order of service and in the chat.
There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love.
Join in sharing our burdens and our blessings, offering the prayers of our heart to the care of this community. We hear and hold one another's yearnings and celebrations in the depths of our hearts and spirits.
A candle of sorrow for those in our community and elsewhere who are suffering in sickness, in grief, in fear, from loneliness. May you have peace knowing that we are here with you and that you are not alone. A candle of joy from Fran Peterson, for my friends, the Buddhist monks, who are returning home to Fort Worth, Texas, after a long walk for peace. 2,300 miles carried by spiritual grace and physical fortitude. I was fortunate enough to travel to Washington, D.C. to welcome them at the end of their journey. I was overwhelmed to see so many interfaith leaders standing on the steps of the National Cathedral, waiting for the monks to arrive. I was also filled with hope as hundreds of people stood together, engaging in conversation with respect and curiosity for one another. Together we walked down Embassy Row, guiding the monks to their next place of rest. Along the way, staff from the embassy stood outside to greet us, some waving, some handing out water, others calling out welcome. People waited along the route for all of the walkers, not just the monks. Some handed out flowers. Children stood in the cold waving, and I was struck by the warmth of it all. This experience and all the days before it, when I walked virtually with the monks, were filled with love and kindness. My wish is that every person who witnessed this walk will carry peace with them to their neighbors, their families, their friends, and into their own hearts as we all continue to navigate a very difficult world. Peace be with you. Our final candle of joy this morning is from Tim O'Rourke. If your heart is in need of warming this week, just scroll through the inundation of brilliant, funny, moving comments on YouTube in response to Bad Bunny's halftime show, celebrating all of Latino culture. People from every walk of life wax poetic about his amazing, inclusive performance that somehow did not end in the apocalypse. You rock, you malevolent Lepin.
For all the sorrows and all the joys we hold in our hearts today, we light these candles to remember and to rejoice. May the peace of this sanctuary enter into our hearts as we share a quiet moment together, breathing our prayers for ourselves, for one another, for our country, for all nations, and for all beings. Amen.
There is a love holding us. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all. We rest in this love.
Thank you, Beck. Thank you, Hyunju. Arlington Street is entirely self-sustaining. It's up to us. Generosity is a key spiritual practice here, and it shows. Thank you for your commitment to our staff, our building, and our beloved spiritual community. Each Sunday, we share a collection plate with a partner in our mission of love, service, justice, and peace. This month's Share the Plate partner is Luce, the Immigrant Justice Network of Massachusetts. Luce is a coalition of immigrant-led grassroots organizations who build people power for everyone across Massachusetts. Luce moves grounded in principles of justice and equity with a deep commitment to keeping all of our communities safe through grassroots organizing, information sharing, and mutual aid. Whether we realize it or not, waiting or patience is a form of generosity. If you've had the occasion to deal with the very young, actually children of all ages, the differently abled, the elderly, also worship coordinators, those a little slow on the uptake, husbands, those last two are not mutually exclusive. Maybe those last three aren't. Your patience is recognized and gratefully received, but there are times that call for the opposite of waiting. A small child poised to tumble down a flight of stairs, the need for immediate political action, and other immaterial and material forms of generosity. So right now, we can give online at arlingtonstreet.org. There are instructions in the order of service in the chat for giving via QR code, Venmo, or text message, or you can email an old-fashioned check to the church office at any time. Thank you for your generosity.
Questions, same ones as me. How long has it been? How long will it be? When will come the morning to drive the night away? Tell me, when will come the morning of a brighter day? Oh, patience, my people. Patience, my family. Patience, patience. Take each other by the hand. Oh, patience, my people. Patience, my family. Let us walk together to the promised land.
Ooh, there's a river to cross and a mountain to climb. Patience, patience. It's gonna take some time. Ooh, we must walk in peace. It's the only way, yeah.
If we wanna see that morning of a brighter day, we're gonna find a way.
Gonna find a way.
Gonna find a way.
Patience.
Oh, my people.
My people.
Patience.
Patience.
My family.
My family.
Until that morn.
Yeah.
Of a brighter day. Patience, till that brighter day,
till that brighter day,
till that brighter day.
Oh, patience,
till that brighter day.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Beck. Thank you, Kanju. Our final hymn this morning is number 1020 in the teal hymnal, Wo Ya Ya. Please rise in body, rise in spirit, rise as you're willing to able. If you're on Zoom, get up, get down, dance a little if you're feeling it. And we will sing, be led by the choir in Wo Ya Ya.
As we begin our benediction, I invite everyone to please reach out your hands. Those on Zoom, you can reach out, touch the sides of your square. Here, we're going to be reaching out and sending loving kindness to the people on your left, on your right, to the people on either side of them, and beyond, loving kindness throughout this entire beloved spiritual community. And feel it coming back to you. And as you feel it coming back, you can bring your hands to your heart center to carry that love that is such a part of the spirit of this congregation with you wherever you go. Our benediction today comes from the Irish poet John O'Donoghue. This is from Blessing for the Interim Time. What is being transfigured here is your mind, and it is difficult and slow to become new. The more faithfully you can endure here, the more refined your heart will become for your arrival in the new dawn. May love hold us until we meet again. The service begins when the service ends. Bless your hearts. Amen.
We are located at the corner of Arlington and Boylston Streets, across from the Public Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Arlington Street Church, gathered in love and service for justice and peace.